Hi everyone and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm Takir and I'm currently studying architecture in London, and in this Design With Me series, let me share with you my final piece of a project that we have recently completed. The project's name is Wearable Architecture, and I've also uploaded two previous videos where I went through the initial ideas and development of this project, which you can go and check them out if you haven't already. But yeah, now let me just show you what I've done throughout this project and the final piece. Right, sorry guys if I'm looking down here, it's just I have to look at the screen of my laptop to see the slides that I've made throughout the project. But yeah, this one, the first slide is basically me playing around with some materials that I found, and this was the first task that we were given, which was basically to experiment with our body or anything that we found around our house, and consider our body as an architectural piece and try to find forms that we could develop further for the project. So yeah, the pictures on the left side that you can see, the bigger ones, are the pictures that I ended up choosing because I just like them the most. I thought that, you know, this plastic bag in my face looks kind of sick, you know. So yeah, that's the form that I ended up choosing and developing initial ideas and location. So something that I've done a lot in this project when we first started is that I tried to do as many sketchings. Well, that's not really sketchings, I traced it over, but I tried to just be as much experimental as I could. So in the top three images, it's just me trying to trace over the photos that I took and just change the form of the plastic bag or the papers that I had around my face, or whichever part of my body. And yeah, I was just trying to find any forms that I liked the most and I could develop. And the bottom two images was a task that we were given to select a specific location where we wanted our final piece to be performed at or to be focused at. I ended up choosing Whitechapel here in East London because I don't know, it was just next to my house, and since I selected those two images of this plastic bag in my face, it just reminded me of a mask. So yeah, the idea was, I was like developing this idea to create a mask for the virus. And Whitechapel is not really an area where social distancing was the most applied because the market was sort of busy all the time, even through lockdown. So yeah, I decided to focus on this area. So this slide collage is a workshop that we had, and we were asked to basically make some collages, and we had to include the location that we selected and also to show our concept. And since my concept was to make this mask to protect the Whitechapel vendors from the virus and the customers, this is the collages that I've done and the images that I took from internet. And yeah, that's, yeah. Okay, now it's when I've started doing some actual like real work for the project. And yeah, here I've done some sketches and then tried to convert them into 3D models. I've used, as you can see, printing paper. You don't really need any fancy equipment and materials to make 3D models. And yeah, these are the models that I ended up making. I timed myself, I gave myself 10 minutes for each model so that I wouldn't spend hours to make like a simple shape. Like, it was a way to, you know, just push myself to just make and be experimental instead of being really picky about the form and the overall thing. And here is the final model. To be honest, I was planning initially to make some bare model, but because we had 2 weeks, I didn't really have enough time to produce another 3D model and then, I don't know, somehow develop it. So yeah, I ended up choosing this one for my final model, which took me literally hours to make, because something very annoying of this project is that because it has to fit in our body, I had to always wear it and see if there were any flaws. For example, if a part was loose, the mask would fall down from my face, and then I had to adjust them. We were told that it didn't really have to be fitted in our body, it didn't really have to be to scale, but I don't know, I just tried to be a bit too ambitious and wanted my models to fit perfectly on my face. And this is the final piece. I decided to do a collage. Initially I was planning to do 3D rendering with SketchUp, but I'm really crap at using SketchUp, so I couldn't make it. And we didn't have time. I just had like 2 or 3 days to just wrap it up, this project. So I decided, you know what, since we have done this collage workshop, let me just make a collage for the final piece. And yeah, the biggest picture, as you can see, is the final one that I like the most. Obviously it's not really a perfect project. I'm not really the most satisfied. I'm just satisfied that I managed to, you know, complete it, have everything. And the idea, as I said, was to make a mask for street vendors in Whitechapel to protect themselves as much as possible from the virus. And how this would work is that there is the mask, and then there is another end of it, and the customers, they would wear on the other end and just safely communicate with each other. And as you can see, because the shape of this mask is pretty long, it just automatically creates a social distancing between the people. Yeah, and obviously it had to be transparent. That's why you can see through it, because otherwise imagine you are wearing a mask that you can't see. And also it's covering the whole face, because usually when you wear a mask and your whole face is not covered, you might end up touching your eyes, like rub your eyes or your face, which can really be dangerous nowadays. And yeah, that's basically it. I know that it's not really the best project. The concept wasn't the most creative, which is because I didn't spend much time doing research, and that's something that I regret not doing, or I can implement that hopefully in the new project that we have currently started. But something positive about it is that I managed to do quite a lot of tracing the images. I managed to make 4 different 3D models, which, I mean, you know, it shows the development. But yeah, I should have focused a bit more also in the research, because that's a great way to get inspired from other artists and then implement them in your work. And since I didn't really have much inspiration, I just ended up brainstorming this quick concept of making a mask to protect yourself from the virus. But yeah, if you have any feedbacks and criticism, feel free to comment down below. I can take anything. I'm used to it now. And if you need any help with your own projects or portfolio application, let me know. You can comment down below or email me. I'm gonna link it down below, and I'll do my best to give you some helpful advices. If you made it this far, you can also go and check out my A-level art sketchbook or my A-level graphic design sketchbook, and I'll see you in the next video.